I'm Roger from Smartbox Self-Storage, the owner of the business. We're in our newest Leicester site. We've been open 2 months now, and we're delighted with what we've achieved here and the blueprint, if you like, we've created for our future development of the business. So if the question is, why do we get into self-storage? We had some commercial property with some spare land outside. Actually, it was being used as a dumping ground by our existing tenants of those commercial properties. So to tidy that up, we had the brainwave of clearing it and putting some shipping containers on it. Just a dozen of them, just to sort of see how it went, and quickly found that those were rented out probably within the first month. So then that kind of said to us, well, maybe there's a business here. The following year we opened one in Stamford, and then since then we've opened one in Oundle, one in Desborough, and we're now in our latest site, which is in Leicester. This sort of size building, 10,000 square feet footprint, is as big as we can afford to get in terms of risk. It's our own money, it's our own capital, so we're quite cautious and we're very deliberate about what we choose. But this site came up. It's a great location on a main road, lots of passing traffic, whereas the other locations we've got are slightly more tucked away. This was, I guess, our first experiment with, well, what if we're in a really prominent location, in a really busy area? What does that mean in terms of how quickly we can fill? What the revenue looks like, what rates we can get. So I guess, yes, creating that blueprint of we can go to a main location that's very visible, that's got good passing trade and traffic in a populous area. So that kind of fits with building a model that we can replicate. If we can make this work here, in terms of the team we pull together to build it out and then how we develop it and sell it locally, then we've got a model that we can then replicate in other places. Because we're new in the business, of course, we attend the trade shows. We haven't got any history, so you talk to people in the industry as to who the leading players are, and clearly Cuboid were one of the leading fit-out contractors. Met them at 1 or 2 of the shows, and I guess it was a natural thing to discuss with them what they might be able to do for us, and 1 or 2 others. And as we got into talking to them, it was clear that they could bring quite a bit of value to what we were trying to do here. And we had a number of proposals, and the one that we looked at from Cuboid seemed to really optimise on using the space that was available to get the best density and revenue potentially from the site. So I guess it was that initial first pass where they did their survey and put together the first plan as to this is what it could look like. That was the one that we felt made best use of the site for the different range of customers that we're looking at, and just simply getting a high density of storage. Yeah, I've probably got a really interesting anecdote around collaborating with the Cuboid team. So Alex and Dorota in their engineering team were designing the layout of this building. It's very tight in terms of its height. So it was within maybe 50 or 100 mil of what they could achieve to get 2 mezzanine floors in and also get the floor to head height that worked. But they did it, and with a bit of a push, they actually got a great layout for us here. But we got to one stage in the design process where all the rooms were there, and I looked at it and thought, okay, we've got some 300 square foot rooms here. Can we do better in terms of optimising that? And literally it was a case of, I went to the offices in Kettering, sat with Dorota and Alex, with the CAD in front of us, and we went through the room layout, room by room, and I had my little calculator going, okay, well, if we have that layout, my revenue looks like this. If we have that layout, it's not quite so good. And we almost value engineered the layout so that we optimised not necessarily the square footage, that sort of net square foot that people look for, but actually the revenue that the site was going to earn for us. And that felt quite unique, that you could sit with the engineers that are doing the design and work through those issues and get to what we felt was an optimal solution. Because in the end of the day, you'd throw it at them and go, look, come up with a layout, but to have that sort of second go and go, okay, that's a great layout, but can we do better in terms of what this will earn for me? Fitting a building out like this, it's not a purpose-built building, so there are things that happen. There are things that are unexpected when they're fitting the mezzanine floor or the layout. And certainly Jason, who was project managing this for Cuboid, it was very much, there's an issue here, you ought to know about it, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. Is that okay? So rather than coming to me and going, look, Roger, what should we do about this? This is here and we didn't expect it, and the delay is going to be this and the costs are going to be that. It was very much, we're in charge of running this project for you and we will complete it for you. We'll keep you abreast of challenges that we're coming across, and if you've got an idea of how you want to do it differently, but this is what we're going to do. And so that, I know it's an age-old sort of cliche, but that can do sort of, we're going to sort this out and deliver it for you, and it's our responsibility to do that. That was terrific and something I haven't always experienced elsewhere. Even when they've handed the building over, they've still wanted to be sure that it's delivering what we need to. And I recognise introducing other suppliers creates a headache in some ways, but nevertheless, they sat on top of all of that and project managed it. And in the wrap-up, it was, how could we project manage this better so that actually it's as frictionless as possible for you as the customer and also for us and the rest of the team. So it wasn't, we've done and let's get on to the next thing because we're very busy. It's okay, well, what can we learn from the way that we executed that so that it'll work better for you, the customer, but also for us as Cuboid when we look at other projects like this. The contractors that we used here, almost certainly we'll use them on the next project because we're very confident about the product they're delivering and the way they work together. So yes, it's kind of, we've got the go-to template now for building out these sorts of projects and we hope to do that a number of times over the next few years. And in fact, Martin is with me on Friday looking at the next site.